The words that you choose are a representation of who you are. Today I'm going to give you a couple of things that you can do very easily to increase your confidence when you're communicating with people. So first and foremost, stop saying I'm sorry as if you are guilty for something or inconveniencing someone by existing. You are not an inconvenience. You are trying to get things done. You're trying to move forward. If you have something that you did screw up and you do need to do some type of sorry, try doing this. This is the mistake that was made, and this is how we're going to keep from doing it again. Done. Nowhere in there is I'm sorry. Nowhere in there is I apologize. Because at the end of the day, what matters most is, did you learn from that mistake, and are you going to prevent it from happening in the future? Build a culture around you that accepts that things are going to happen that are not necessarily what you wanted to have happen. You don't need to be sorry all the time. If for some reason you need to say I'm sorry in a work setting, don't say I'm sorry. Change it to apologies. It's a blanket statement. It is a neutral statement that does not put blame on anyone. It's acknowledging that something went wrong and then moving past it. Now this next one, I am guilty of doing this. When you are asked a question, answer the question that is asked. If someone asks you, did you have lunch today? That is a yes or no question. Yes, I did. Or no, I did not. Stop explaining what you had for lunch. If they wanted to know, guess what they would have asked? Be very controlled in the information. Sometimes when we over-explain, it can make you appear as if you're not confident, as if you're not too sure what the person is asking of you or what's going on, and you're trying to fumble through it. So make it short and sweet. If something that you know is important and they didn't ask that question, then by all means, go into whatever that additional thing is. It's a really hard habit to kick when you're used to over-explaining everything that you do. We won't get into the psychology of why people do that and the insecurities that are behind that, but historically speaking, people that are insecure or unsure of themselves typically over-explain what they're doing because they have fear of some kind. You have to manage those within yourself. If you haven't watched it already, go back and watch the video about therapy. I genuinely believe that everyone can benefit from therapy because it does provide you with tools to make sure that you work on your communication and also your confidence. One of the easiest tells of someone that is uncomfortable or not confident in what they're saying is laughing. You don't want to be all stuffy all the time, and you don't want to be all serious all the time, and I get that. This is aside from having just a friendly personality. But if you're stating something serious, if you're making a point on something, do not laugh. This takes time and it takes effort, and this takes a lot of practice to master. I'm not going to completely change my personality because that's a core part of who I am. However, what I have learned to do is make sure that I hold that in when I'm presenting, when I'm talking about something serious, that I don't inadvertently smile while I'm talking. If you are a person that tends to laugh when you get uncomfortable or when you're insecure or just shy, it's something that you need to be aware of, and it's something that you need to work on. So now we're going to talk about you. It is impossible to build your confidence if you're also tearing yourself down. Have you ever been in a meeting or spoken with a colleague and said something like, well, I'm not as good as you at this, or you've been doing this longer than I have? Stop doing that. So here's the thing. You might have to call for help. You might have to ask a mentor to help you with a situation. Does the person that you're communicating with need to know that? Does the team that you're working with need to know that? Do they need to know that you believe that you're lesser than that other person? And the answer is no, they don't. All of us have ways and tips and tricks and things that we do to get through our days, to manage our workload, and to learn and grow and develop. No one else needs to know that but you, unless you want to share it because it will help someone else. So I don't tell people, I'm going to go to so-and-so because they're better at this than me. I'm going to go to so-and-so because they have been doing this longer than I have. What I would do instead is say, hey, did you know that so-and-so is an expert on this? Why don't we bring them in? That talks about that person's expertise and doesn't say anything badly about me. Flip every sentence into a positive, egoless sentence. Stop talking about yourself like that. Stop treating yourself like that. And you might believe, I'm not as good as so-and-so. While that's something that you should work on, it's not something that you should outwardly say when you're in a work environment. Let's talk about locus of control. Specifically, an internal locus of control. When you're communicating with people, if you are uncomfortable or not secure in what you're saying or unsure about something and it's starting to beat you, the location of your control is being given to people outside of you. That means you need to stop focusing on how the other person is going to react and start focusing inward. An internal locus of control means that you believe that your abilities, your internal abilities, can control the outcome. You believe that the work that you put in will result in a positive positive outcome for you. It is looking inward for self-actualization, for approval and acceptance. It's looking at yourself. You are in control of your destiny, is basically what this means. If you put the work in, if you study, if you work on yourself, you are more likely to have a positive outcome. As opposed to, I'm going to say this thing and apologize at the beginning of it, and they're going to tell me if they approve or not, either verbally or by shaking their head at me or whatever. And that's where I get my validity from. That's what makes me valid, is that person's acknowledgement of what I just said. Your goal should not be the approval of the person that you're communicating with. Your goal should be inward. I want to be intentional in my communication. I want to make sure that I'm contributing with the words that I choose. That makes it about you. Your locus of control is not just about communication. It's about how you see yourself and how you support yourself and how you validate yourself. The bad thing that can happen from looking at external validation is you're leaving it up to everyone else. You're leaving it up to fate. You're leaving it up to chance. If it's going to happen, it's going to happen. It's not up to me. As always, it's about continuous improvement, self-actualization, things that we work on to make sure that we are in a healthy mental and physical place. Having an internal locus of control does not mean that you're guaranteed to have good outcomes, but it does mean that you're able to say, this is the energy and work that I put into this thing, and this is the outcome that I got. It didn't quite pan out the way that I wanted to. Next time, this is what I'm going to do. I can learn and choose to do it this way because I understand what got me here. All of this takes practice. And again, therapy helps. Having tools and techniques and things to help you navigate the world and life and just daily interactions to make sure that you're not beating up on yourself, to make sure that you are working on your confidence and not only come across as confident, but actually feel it, actually feel empowered, because nothing is unachievable as long as you're working on being better than you were yesterday.